Never shall innocent blood be shed. Yet the blood of the wicked shall flow like a river. The three shall spread their blackened wings and be the vengeful striking hammer of God. You people have been chosen to reveal our existence to the world. You will witness what happens here today, and you will tell of it later. All eyes to the front. You must watch, dear. It'll all be over soon.
Now you will receive us. We do not ask for your poor or your hungry. We do not want your tired and sick.
It is your corrupt we claim.
It is your evil that will be sought by us.
With every breath, we shall hunt them down.
Each day, we will spill their blood till it rains down from the skies.
Do not kill. Do not rape. Do not steal. These are principles which every man of every faith can embrace.
These are not polite suggestions. These are codes of behavior. And those of you that ignore them will pay the dearest cost.
There are varying degrees of evil. We urge you lesser forms of filth, not to push the bounds and cross over into true corruption, into our domain.
For if you do, one day you will look behind you and you will see we three. And on that day, you will reap it.
And we will send you to whatever God you wish.
And shepherds we shall be, for thee, my lord, for thee. Power hath descended forth from thy hand. May swiftly carry out thy command. So we shall flow river forth to thee, and teeming with souls shall it ever be.
In nomine Patri.
Et Filii, Spiritus Sancti.
How far are we gonna take this, Star?
The question is not how far. The question is, do you possess the Constitution? The depth of faith to go as far as is needed?
Oh, hello.
Hello, Nick.
Man, one thing I can say about boomers is, man, they really tend to be on time.
On time?
Yes.
Oh, I've been a little bit late a couple times.
Oh, I was just trying to cast a little joke at our other co-host that has not showed up yet. There's no shade here. It's just I think it was a joke I thought of while we're about to
Well,
start the show.
but it is true.
Yes.
The places where I deliver groceries. Do you know who shows up because they're
Boomers.
scheduled to work? Boomers, the old guys. They
Yep.
just show up. They're just there. They don't call in sick, and they get the job done. They don't really complain. Well, there's banter and complaints, but that doesn't stop them from getting their job done. So there are some good aspects to boomers, but we're not going to really focus on those today.
Oh, we have a little axe to grind, huh?
Well, there's a lot of complaints about boomers.
Yes, I know.
So we need some audience participation because I have a theory and I'll share that. And I've already shared it with Nick and Plutarch separately.
She's got some already.
Oh, okay. Don't have the chat pulled up here. Okay, so man, leave it to Shu. He's always just on track with what we're thinking.
He's an old Dow Rock reader. We kind of run in that lane.
I know, but the first word he commented, egalitarian. Okay, yep, that's where I'm going.
How did he know?
I don't know.
Well, if you listen to us long enough, you're like, yeah, you got it.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to develop that a little bit more later on. But we're going to start out by an asshole who has some of the best complaints about boomers. Who would that be?
Does he do consulting too?
I think so.
Does he have something? Oh, there you go.
So this is funny. So we're going to listen to a little bit of poking fun at boomers. So you can. Oh, and by the way, for the record, I was born in 1962. So the traditional years for boomers were born between 1946 and 1964. So, yeah, some people will shorten it up to 1960 for demographic purposes. But for all practical purposes, I'm a boomer, but I'm a young boomer. I don't care. I mean, it is what it is. So let's listen to Cappy.
You're talking
About
about
boomers, we have to do the extended boomer intro, but it's 3 minutes long, so go to the bathroom or something. You've already seen it.
I know how to use a mic. Where's the microphone?
Where's your microphone, Harris? When I was the age of these little youngins, didn't have these newfangled microphones.
I don't like young people. They make me fart.
Young people, they're always on my lawn. That's what I don't like. And they get on the road and they drive really fast. I'm like, damn it. Don't you understand? The speed limit says 35. That means you should drive 25. to make sure there's an extra 10 for buffer zone.
We didn't
Don't you
have speed limits. We had just limits. It limited us on everything. We couldn't do nothing. We just sat. That's all we did for fun. We liked it.
Well, I now you must be younger than me, Sonny, because when I was your age, I couldn't just sit. I had to walk uphill in order to sit. And then when I was sitting uphill, and I had to pull myself up the hill by my bootstraps.
I don't want to hear your cry. You had uphill. You lied. You lied. I'm not younger than you. You're older. I'm old. I'm something but older than you.
No. I'm Boomer Great One. I'm older.
But you said uphill. You're a traitor. You had it easy.
Uphill.
We didn't even have uphill. It was just hill, damn you. What generation of whippersnappers are you from?
Hey, listen to me, you little whippersnapper. Both of my knees hurt. And my back
we didn't
hurts,
have knees in my
and
day. You're a millennial hippie.
You
don't even have your driver's license.
So I can drive. I've been driving since 1837.
Your penis cut off surgery, all popular with the kids.
The first Henry Ford automobile ever.
My butt hurts with this chair. I want a new chair. The young kids, they should pay for it now, don't you think?
Yeah, if they'd stop buying avocado toast and Starbucks coffee, they could afford. Hey, why do they buy all that stuff for?
We just had bread. We didn't have no toast. These weakling kids get their fire applicator to a toaster. Who had toast?
Right.
Who didn't have time for it? We're walking uphill all the time.
And Starbucks, we didn't even have water. All we had was the coffee beans. We had to put the beans
We just had bucks. There's no star. Who did this buck? Here's this creepy old man grabbed us where we shouldn't have been grabbed, but we liked it, damn it.
That's right.
We liked it.
And I just imagined he was pulling me up by my bootstraps. I enjoyed every moment of it.
Dang whippersnappers.
Now these whippersnappers.
Don't get me started about them. If you boomers don't like the length of that intro, you can kindly go fuck yourselves, because try going to school for 13 years with no education at the end of it.
Okay, Nick. Got any comments so far?
Gotta love Cappy. Boomer Great One. Back in the time of dinosaurs. Back before fire.
Yeah.
Plutarch. I hate boomers.
Have you observed that boomers take credit for things that happened before they were born?
Multiple times,
Oh.
yes. I mean, what else do you want me to say? I mean, I've got a couple examples if you want them.
You can use them now, or we can continue on. Now we're at the making fun of boomer stage of this stream.
Okay. Well, okay. So my personal favorite is the boomers take credit for building the interstate highway system. So the interstate highway system was primarily built in the 50s.
Yes, the people that came back from the war.
Yeah. Were there still some parts of it being built after the 50s? Yes. Don't at me, bro. Okay. But for the vast majority of the work, for the boomers say, oh, we built the interstate highway. No, your parents built the interstate highway system. And unless your argument is that your parents were using child labor to build the interstate highway system, which is not in any history book I've ever read. Because the oldest boomer, when they started built with the interstate highway system, the oldest of old would have been 10 years old.
Well, 10 years in 1956.
Yeah, they'd have been 10 years in 1956. Yeah.
And it started then, but it was the Eisenhower interstate system. Eisenhower, I believe he was born in the teens.
No, it's before then.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
I mean, uh,
Yeah, I didn't look it up. Yeah, it would have been before the teens.
Yeah. I mean, he served in the military during 1915 in the army. He joined in 1915.
1890. I looked it up. He was
Yeah.
born in
Oh,
1890.
okay. So, okay. I mean, he funded it, he promoted it, but it kind of came from his generation. The concept. Yeah, the work, sure, it continued for many years. Probably was substantially complete, I don't know, late 60s. And certain outstate segments took a lot longer. But there was a major push in the through the late 50s, early 60s.
Well, Steve, I got a story to tell you.
Okay,
My dad's a boomer. He helped build roads during the summers.
sure.
Yeah. And he worked at a bar some of the time in college where he got free beer. That's probably the reason he worked there. Help pay his tuition, He could work and pay off his tuition.
What do you mean? Help pay his tuition?
You know, how much
He
was
made
college per credit hour back then?
kind of.
Yeah. So you mean he could make enough money during the summers to pay off everything and have some money left over for fun?
Absolutely, because I did that. I worked road construction in the summers
Yeah.
from the time I was 16. So, yeah, I started out university at Moorhead State College in Moorhead, Minnesota. I did 2 years of pre-engineering there. And take a wild ass guess how much I was paying per credit hour.
$25?
What?
$25?
No,
$50?
it was under $15 a credit hour.
Oh, wow.
And I paid that for 2 years.
I hate that answer. I hate everything about it.
And how much money was I making per hour in the summer working road construction? Want to guess there?
I don't know.
$3.50
Maybe
an hour?
I want to say about $2.50 an hour.
Oh, no. It was between $7 and a little over $8 an hour.
Wow. That's actually back then.
Yeah.
I mean, one of them was a federal wage scale job. So yeah, it was a bit over $8 an hour. And that would have been in about 1980. You have any idea how much money that was in 1980?
So it was a lot of money in 1980. I don't know exactly how much, but it was a lot. Well, okay, I'll do the math. Okay, standard work years, 2,040 hours. We'll go times 7. And it's $14,000. Doesn't sound like a lot until you realize that you could buy a car for $200 and
Well, I mean, okay, let's just say my credit hours, college credit cost me 2 hours of labor per credit hour. 2 hours of my labor for a credit hour. Yes, you can afford college then. You don't need college loans.
Yeah, it's something like college credits now are like $250.
Oh, I think
Credit.
they're probably more than that.
Yeah, you're right.
Now to be fair, after 2 years at Morehead State, I went to the University of Minnesota. And then it cost me $60 per credit hour there. And that was per quarter.
Yeah.
They were on quarters, not semesters. So it was still 4 times as much, but it was still relatively cheap. I don't know. Your credit hours are just absurdly expensive now.
Well, okay, I'll pull this up here. Boot 80% of people out of attending college. Yes, we actually need to do that because we, in the name of
80% of the staff.
Well, yeah, that too. Because what we've done is we've turned college into a high school program. College has now become a credential to prove that you can follow instructions. College is what high school used to be. The only reason people are the only reason people go to college is college used to mean that you were above average IQ. But it did.
Yeah, it did.
Okay. But now,
Yeah, I remember.
because go ahead.
Okay, where I went to school was like on the creme de la creme of public schools. Okay, and it was like over 90% white. But everybody was talking about where they're going to college, and well, pretty much everybody there was average IQ or generally higher on average. So it kind of made sense. And their parents were very successful people, very well off.
Well,
But even not at my school, but all around, maybe to a lesser extent, this is in 2006. So when I graduated high school, yeah, most people were going to go to college everywhere. It was just like what you're supposed to do.
well, it's what you have to do today to prove that the idea is that you prove you're above average intelligence, but because of blind equalitarianism, we have to let the lower IQ and into the colleges. And so businesses are now starting to ignore college degrees. So back in the 90s and really the 2000s, they started ignoring high school degrees. That the 2000s is when that sort of shift really happened. And so, but now businesses are starting to ignore college degrees because the colleges have stuffed themselves. They have gorged themselves on these. Well, you have a lot of low IQ immigration because college visas are unlimited. So they pay full freight. They don't pay your in-state tuition. They pay your out-of-state tuition, and we've DEI'd our way into making sure that the IQ spectrum is fully represented. So the college degree itself has become broadly meaningless today.
So, okay, how does this relate to boomers? Okay, well, I'll be the representative boomer here. Back in my day, you could work a summer job and you could pay your tuition. It should still be that way, right? No, it's not that way. Now it's ungodly expensive. Back then, fewer women went to college. And there were still more men in college than women. And the men went for more, I guess, substantial degrees. But now women go to college. And now they're lamenting because men are supposedly falling behind because men are not going, young men are not going to college. And the women are, oh my God, the men are falling behind. No, I think it's flipped now. Where the smart men, smarter. Unless you're going for an accounting degree or a STEM degree, it's probably not worth your money. So if you're a smarter man not going for those, you say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to burden myself with that debt. I'll just go work a job. I'll work in construction, whatever. I'll get in the entry level, work my way up, and it actually makes sense. And Plutarch has some data on how much of the jobs in tech and whatnot have gone to white people, white men.
So we actually have data on this. In 2023, they were quite proud of this. The S&P Standard & Poor's, not the S&P to be confused with the S&P 500, published a report showing that only 6% of all new jobs in 2023 went to white men.
And you wonder why Microsoft Office 360 is a piece of shit and fucks up everything every time it's updated.
Yep. There is an explanation for it. And it's a simple explanation that no one wants to talk about because it's racist. Am I saying it racist? Am I saying it right?
Racist.
Oh, is that like the boomers' number one sin?
So
it is the boomers' original sin, but I mean in the Christian sense, race. I did a whole long explanation for to Steve of the history of this yesterday. I don't have to do it here. It's annoyingly long, but anyway.
Okay, we've established there's a dichotomy here, a difference of opinion. Young men are making the wise choice of not going to college because the college degree has been made way too damn expensive. It doesn't get you ahead. It doesn't mean much. And then when you apply for jobs, they're not hiring white men. So it's prudent not to go to college. That's the smart decision. But then when those same guys are commenting, complaining, yeah, life is hard. I can't afford a car. Women don't want to date me. I don't know if I'll ever own a house. The boomer comes in. Well, you could have gone to college and gotten a degree and gotten a good job, not knowing that's not reality today. So young people just get pissed off at boomers because they don't have a clue as to reality today versus back in the day.
Okay, Steve, this is a key point. The millennials and younger, and Zs particularly, it's not that they hate the boomers. Okay, this is something that I see boomers accuse the youngers of. Oh, well, you just hate us because you know, and then they spout off some word salad that I can't even think to repeat here because it's that bad. But they say, oh, and the boomers say, oh, well, you just hate us because we succeeded and you're not. Okay, it's some form of that. Okay, here's the problem: the millennials don't actually hate you. They look at what you are telling them, and then when the millennials go, hey, wait a minute, that advice doesn't actually work, the boomers, instead of updating their priors, just immediately launch into savage reputation and personal destruction attack. They're mad at the boomers because the boomers refuse to update their priors. They will not listen. If the boomers listened, they would have far less problems with the youngers. But Steve, what's the problem with listening? What happens if you actually listen to the young people? Why might boomers not want to do that?
Huh? Let me turn my hearing aids up.
You might be proven wrong. You might be wrong.
Steve, it goes deeper than that, though. What's the problem with being proven wrong? I'm going to channel my dad here for a second because
well, if you're proven wrong, it means you didn't earn and deserve the life you had.
That's part of it. That is part of it. What else might cause something of an identity crisis isn't really the right word, but it's something like that.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank.
Okay.
You're going to have to explain it to me.
Okay. This is something my dad and I talk about at length because he grew up around boomers. He is a boomer himself and broadly considers them to be the most retarded generation on the planet. So I mean, he actually gets viscerally angry at boomers when I talk to them about what they're doing. It's kind of fun to watch. My dad's one of the cool ones. So the boomers, it goes back to what I was talking about earlier. The boomers have told themselves these stories about who they were. They were the generation that built the interstate system. They were the generation that suffered the most in Vietnam. Actually, not true. It was the silent generation that suffered the most in Vietnam. Most boomers were not even, the oldest boomer was not even a teenager when the U.S. started getting involved in Vietnam. Yes, towards the end of the war, there were boomers in Vietnam, but they did not bear the brunt of their generation did not bear the brunt of the problems. And so the boomers have built all these stories about how fantastic they are as people. And so when a millennial comes along and says, actually, you're not that fantastic, it shatters everything about who they've told themselves that they are. Or they can attack the millennial for being, just a angry incel chud, and so that's the Cliff Notes history of why boomers are doing what they're doing. Steve, yesterday in the conversation, you made a great analogy of boomer behavior to what was it, Steve? What was it?
I don't know. I make so many good points. I can't remember all of them.
You pointed out that this behavior is that this behavior of creating fantasies about yourself is what women do.
Oh, yeah.
Boomers are feminine.
I made more distinctions than that.
You did, but I wanted to push you, just nudge you.
So, I got to get back into that train of thought. So, when you have a conversation with a boomer about facts and reality, instead of engaging with you, they refute and deny and basically go on the attack. That's kind of similar behavior to if you're trying to have a factual exploration type conversation with a woman about a controversial subject, which might imply that she has some culpability or accountability or blame. Oh, no. Nope. That's not acceptable. And so they will, whenever you try and blame a woman, oh, she's going to deflect and she's going to accuse you. If you ever try to talk to a boomer about things of his generation that caused the problems you are having, essentially laying blame and accountability, they deflect it just like a woman.
You know what, Steve? The red pill is undefeated. And yes, it is no accident that after, let's see, the boomers gained political power in roughly 1980, which was 45 years ago. It is no accident that after 45 years of boomers dominating the political space up and down the chain, that everything now appears to be boomer coded, because boomer coded is just saying everything is feminine coded. And if you approach boomers, as Steve is describing, petulant children, because women are also petulant children, it actually, you start to you start to be able to actually deal with them. But you often end up dealing with them like you deal with other petulant children, ignoring them. And for the vast majority of boomers, I would say it is perfectly safe to ignore them. If I can't remember who I was talking to, it might have been my dad, but we during the course of this conversation, we basically agreed that if you were to remove every boomer from any position of power whatsoever, the world would instantly get better overnight. And within 5 years, you would have levels of prosperity unseen since before, post the post World War II years. Like that's how bad the boomer feminine imperative, feminine primacy, I don't know what we want to call it.
Feminine traits.
Feminine traits. Yeah, that's how badly it's damaged us.
They operate under gynocentrism.
Yes, they absolutely they as an entire generation they do. Okay, I need to put an asterisk on that. When you study generational theory, you come to a realization about 20 to 30% are the true believers, the loudmouths, the ones who actually push and carry the ideology. And there's about 60 to 70% are just normies who go along to get along. And then there's 10% who are rebels. Okay. So Steve and my dad fall into the rebel boomer camp. They were never well liked by their boomer cohort. They were constantly pointing at their boomer cohort going, guys, this is going to hurt later. This is stupid. Don't do this. Right. My dad did that in his entire life growing up. And I personally lived through some of it in the 90s with the church. And he keeps reminding me of that. And I had forgotten about a lot of it, but a lot of effort has been spent over the years by the 10% of boomers who are, based to try and convince the boomers to not be functionally retarded, but they have been. So we have 40 years of functional retardation permeating our system. That shit's not going to get cleaned up overnight. It's just not.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to see, I saw it a couple weeks ago. They're marching against ICE, and they had this stupid little song with these little like bird things they did during their craft time.
Boomers or women?
Boomers.
Well, I've seen similar to what Nick describes. They are 65-year-old children. They are.
Oh, it's a good thing I'm not that old yet.
Nah. Well, there are some adults in the room, but the children have always ruled the boomer homes. They've always ruled the boomer they just never grew up. I don't know really how else to describe it than that. They're children. And it would be in our best interest to treat them as such. Maybe with the exception of Steve over there and my dad. And
you can do whatever you want. And do you know what the secret is to dealing with it? Nick, what's the secret for a man to deal with whatever comes his way?
Be immovable, not to give a
the thing you were teaching that young guy last night.
Oh, having frame, not giving a shit.
It's the cure all. So, do boomers have frame?
No. Some do, but as a whole, probably not.
Generationally, okay, this is a tough one for me because they react so flippantly and callously. It can appear like they have frame, right? Because Steve, what did you say? Oh, well, just don't care. Well, the boomers don't care about their own children by and large. So they don't care. So they've got that part of frame down.
Well, they're without
pat.
that's not even, that's just that's immoral with being without natural affection.
Well, yes, but I think, it's great that we had a discussion on what frame really is last week, because frame is about far more than just not caring, right? It's
You're in control of your own
Oh,
mission, your own ways, and you're not swayed by their
yes,
stupid shit.
right.
Yeah,
And so
not caring is okay. You can criticize me. Fine. Go ahead. Doesn't affect who I am, my purpose, what I'm going to do. And if you throw shit at me, I'll deal with it. I can ignore you. I can banter back. It doesn't affect who I am as a person.
Well, what I think I'm getting at is they can appear like they have frame because they have some superficial aspects of it, but note their responses when you actually hit something that they care about. That's when you see that they lose frame. Okay.
Okay. They have success. Success is not the same as frame.
Correct. That is, yes.
And so they fall back on, well, I was successful. You can be too. You must be a lesser person because you're not successful like me.
In my day, I was waiting tables and had my newspaper route. I put down $2,500 on my first home. Trying to channel my inner Cappy.
Yeah. That's his
Yes,
normal.
I'm totally ripping off Cappy. I admit it. You guys should watch Cappy. Aaron Clary's got some great stuff, especially if you want to hear him rant about boomers.
Well, not only does he have great stuff, I mean, he's a trained economist who worked at one of the very large finance firms for years. He actually knows what he's talking about. So you can get all the rants.
Hold on.
You can get all the rants, but then you get the data too.
He's not a trained economist. Sorry. Cappy has a degree in finance from the Carlson School of Management at the University of Minnesota.
Okay.
To my knowledge, all he has is a bachelor's degree. And then he worked in banking at Wells Fargo.
Okay, so he's a trained finance guy.
Okay, trained at the basic level. I'm not taking away from Cappy.
No.
I'm enhancing him because Cappy is just a smart guy. He's just very high IQ, and he's done it himself. He's trained himself. It's not his credentials that make him on target.
That's true. No, well, I was going to say a large part of his education was at the bank, inside the banking industry, because the problem with credentials is they don't actually teach you what you need to know anymore. The credential gets you in the door. The bank actually taught him what he knows.
Not necessarily for what they were doing right.
True.
True. He learned from what they were doing wrong, and he was smart enough to say, hey, this is all fucked up.
Well, yes, guys, banks are not some super smart institutions. They just have access to data you don't have. That's their edge. They just have better data. They're not smarter than you necessarily, although they can't afford to hire smart people if they choose to. But no, they just have better data than you do.
and they got that magical ability that you don't have.
Oh, what, to make more money?
No, to make money, to create money.
Yeah, they have that too.
We're not going there. Trust me. Plutarch and I have discussed that. Banks actually do create money.
Oh, yeah.
But through loans.
So anyway, Cappy is a smart guy with with an education worth paying attention to. That's how I'll state that.
So let's watch a bit more of Cappy, and then we'll get into some more banter after that. Let's see. Let me get this going. Okay, thanks.
I am not talking to the handful of good boomers who are in my audience. Every man and woman, I guess it must have been some, who served in Vietnam, you are also not subject of this. Please do not be the invincible meme of women on average are shorter than men. And then the woman says, but I'm 5'6", and he just sips his cup. Please do not do the tall Asian argument on me. However, I've ran into it a couple times now. We're boomers. There was one guy, he's a boomer. I don't know. I don't get it. I've just been going uphill and fondling my balls in between my divorces and leaving my children nothing, or whatever he said. It doesn't matter. It's coming from a boomer's mouth. Some of you are actually trying to defend yourself. I just stop. Just fucking stop, right? Am I not critical of Gen X? Do I not tell you daily? Well, maybe not daily, but did I not tell you that Gen X is not this cool, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Breakfast Club? It was a bunch of assholes in the 90s sucking on pacifiers. Did I not tell you that? Did I not tell you they have their same talentless hack musician known as Kurt Cocaine? Their version of Jim Morrison. Do I not point out the exact same business managerial decisions, and that the Xers had told the exact same generation to do the same stupid shit that the boomers told you millennials? Have I not been fair? Have I not been just in being critical of everyone who fucked up? But God damn it, you boomers, just shut up. Just shut up. I don't have this be the Nuremberg trials. Like, well, but those people with the funny hats really, really mean. That's why I killed 6 men. Stop defending your fucking indefensible track record. Okay, it's not only all I want to hear out of you, everybody wants to hear out of you, but if you're going to speak, if you're not going to be quiet, the only thing people want to hear out of you is, we're sorry, and not this.
Okay, Plutarch.
Like a woman, they lack humility.
Pretty
you
much.
were kind of talking about this, defending everything they've ever done,
Right.
and getting butthurt about it.
Right. You're not allowed, and he's right to disclaim the Vietnam vets and the 10% of boomers who are based. They exist. They were mostly pushed out of anywhere that they could have any influence by the 30%, the loud 30%. So you don't really know who they are or where they are, because they were sidelined. But Cappy's saying kind of the same thing I did. It's not. It's that they have to. The reason that everyone's so angry at them is this automaton-like need to defend everything they've ever done is the greatest thing for humanity. Like, no, you guys did not do most of the great stuff, and the stuff you did do, and here's one that the boomers actually did do. The boomers actually created the internet, and while the internet has been good, it has not been what I would call an absolute good. The interstate highway system has been an absolute good for the U.S. economically, socially, even culturally. The internet
Plutarch,
hasn't
hold on.
been.
Did boomers put a man on the moon?
No. Sorry. That was putting a man on the moon was a collab between what we call the greatest generation and the generation that came after them, called the silent generation. Okay. I'm sorry.
They were the kids watching it on television.
Yeah, exactly, Nick. The boomers were the kids who watched on television, but then they start telling themselves the story about how they put a man on the moon because they fucking saw it on TV.
What other thing can we give boomers true credit for? What's the other greatest development since like 1970? The boomers accepted and promoted feminism.
Okay. Yeah, I see. You were being sarcastic. Got it. Okay. Now I can work with that.
It's an accomplishment. It's probably their most significant accomplishment.
Yeah.
Has most
impactful
impact on the world and where we are today. And why are the red pill guys like Cappy so pissed off at boomers? Why are the young men who would like to buy a house, would like to get a wife, a good woman, and raise a family? Why are they so damn pissed off at the boomers?
Because everything the boomers did that mattered made sure they couldn't. I mean, boomers own 40% of all houses in the United States. There's a stat I saw recently. 20% of the U.S. population owns 40% of the houses in the United States, and they're all over the age of 65.
Who raised all those young? Who raised all the women that the men are having problems marrying today?
Boomers. Some Xers, but mostly boomers. And my dad was very careful to point this out. With the Xers, it was only the upper half of the Xers. The bottom half of the Xers are actually pretty chill people. And personally, I have no problem getting along with them. Older Xers can be almost like they're kind of boomer light. But yeah, mostly who raised the children that you're the women you're having trouble with, boomers. Let's see, the boomers' children would be primarily let's see, boomers' children would be primarily 45 to about 25 years old, roughly.
Yeah, man, that encompasses most of the marriage-aged women. Well, I mean, we're 2026. I mean, from 2020 on, they would a 20-year-old 5-6 years ago would have been raised by boomers. And our problems with the marriage rate and all that, oh man, it was getting acute back then. Men were complaining about it. Oh, and which generation was it that had that was the first with the high divorce rate?
Oh, that was boomers. Plain as day.
And when you have a divorce, you have a family that falls apart. You either have a crazy mom or both, a crazy mom and an absent dad. It's just a disaster. And so if you were raised in that situation with a broken family, yeah, you're not going to have a lot of nice things to say about boomers because they fucked up your childhood. Now, if you are a man or a woman who came from a good boomer family, you still have to deal with all these other people who were messed up by the boomers.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I'm doing math in my head. No, sorry, the boomers started having kids in They would have started having kids around 1965, and it would have been mostly done by, well, this is not easy math. So 65, then they ran to about 64, 60 to 64, depending on when you terminate their cohort. And then your last babies would be born about 40 years later. So yeah. Boomer children were born between 19. Wow, they were born over a large period of time.
Pretty
Boomer
large,
children were born between 1985 and 1965 and, you're not going to believe this, 2005.
Yeah, it was dwindling at that point.
Yeah, it was. The bulk of them would have been born 1965 to 19. We'll call
Late
it
90s.
Yeah, we'll call it 95. We'll give them a 30-year.
Yeah.
So the Boomer children, 1965 to, that makes them 1995. They're really only 30. Oh my God, they're really only 30 years old. So yeah, those are the women you've had to. Those are the women who have all made your life hell. These are the HR Karens. Seriously, like that is the HR Karen generation, is Boomer children.
Don't remind me.
Nick.
Boomers have a gift that just keeps on giving.
Thanks. I hate it. I don't need it. Seriously, we don't need it. We don't. So, yeah, it's 50. God damn, 50 to, yeah, they're 50 to 30. But I mean, think about the women who are ages 50 to 30. They come from broken homes. Just, like you throw a rock in a crowd of women aged 50 to 30, and you'll hit somebody from a broken home. They all hate men, and they are very open about it. I've had to deal with a lot of them. They're bitter. They are just, they wear this permanent scowl on their face. And it's like it's etched into their face now at this point. These aren't people you want to be around. And
you mean egalitarianism doesn't work, and it just makes people bitter as they try to fight against reality? It never works in their favor most of the time.
Well, okay, you were told as a young child that you could be fat and that there would still be, a young woman. Actually, shoot, that's a great way to say this. I'm going to throw this up there. Demonic physiognomy. Yeah, exactly. These people were promised that they could do whatever they want. They could eat anything, get as fat as they wanted. They could whore around like they were going to die tomorrow. But when they turned 35, that they would be here's a name I'm going to use because it's relevant to that generation, that Channing Tatum would be waiting for them. Okay.
Oh, and they're all Taylor Swift.
Yeah, exactly. They're all Taylor Swift. Although my opinion, she's kind of a plank, but that's
yeah.
But yes, they were all daddy's little princess. And interestingly enough, if you have a woman who has princess mentality, she came from a boomer, maybe a late Xer. But I don't see millennial moms doing anything like that with their kids. Princess treatment for the kids? Lol. No, the princess thing that's a very boomer coded thing for their daughters.
There's another term that we can describe these men. Nice guys.
Yeah.
What is a nice guy? Nick, what is a nice guy?
Oh, you mean a guy that's kind of passive aggressive, doesn't maintain any boundaries, and is always seeking to please another, sometimes to the expense of himself until he explodes, basically. And
Yes.
they're not so nice. And they always finish last when they run out of gas,
Appearances are more important than reality. I need to appear to be nice. I want to be seen as being nice. So I'm going to try and please others so they'll like me. That is boomer behavior, boomer male behavior.
Oh, and this is what they teach the young seminarians too. Just to be, go with, just be kind and attentive and, don't make waves. Try to be an agreeable pastor, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, then you became a pastor of a church
Yeah.
in
I
a
was agreeable to it.
small backwater, in a
Yeah.
small, low population state, a backwater town that's supposedly traditional.
Mhm.
When you tried to tell the truth and the real gospel, did you get pushback from the boomers, Nick?
Oh, definitely the boomer elders that were married. The silent generation ones, they're like, yeah, he's kind of right. The boomer guy that never got married, he's like, I don't care. you know? Uh, but yeah, it was the boomer men that always had their wives had their balls in a purse. And I try to be kind, I try to be agreeable, but I wasn't gonna bend on the truth. So
So, what'd they do then?
well, I was just a problem. I
So they
made them
just
look
double
bad.
down, right?
Double down. Oh, we have your best interests at heart. We just want you to succeed. Bull crap. That was crap and lies they told me. Meanwhile, they made up lies about me behind my back, white knighted for the, Jezebel ex-wife, did nothing when my kids were taken from me. Bunch of faggots. Well, might get a YouTube strike for that, but yeah. Oops.
Sorry, YouTube. But he's probably not wrong.
Okay, so I think this is where it's a good bridge. We could listen to Cappy some more, but the real damage is in that young men cannot achieve what young men have always wanted. They wanted just a decent job to make a living. They want to find a woman and have a family and ideally buy a home. It's pretty simple.
Nope, not
But
available.
that is what younger men are really pissed off about, and the boomers don't get it. So, how
Best they
did this
can do
happen?
is insane rent. No, best they can do is insane rent prices. A run through 304,
And insane food prices.
and they can't guarantee you'll keep your kids.
Many people have said culture is downstream of faith or downstream of religion. Would you agree with that, Nick?
Yeah. Yes, but which religion? I mean, you're always dealing with more than one.
Okay, America is a quote Christian unquote nation. So, what happens in the church shows up in society. So, what's been
Generally
going on in
speaking,
the church?
effeminate clergy.
Okay,
Oh, I
let's
watched that
watch
video today.
this.
I watched that video today. I was a licentiate in the
Okay,
PCA. I was having a lot of
yeah,
flashbacks watching this. Okay.
let's watch
Uh,
Wailing on me, beating on me. She said, "This is why I hate you." I brought it up to the elders, and they literally laughed in my face. She was just raging for 3 months, yelling, screaming, throwing things at me. My immune system started shutting down. I was hours away from dying. I woke up one day, and she took the kids.
This interview is a warning to our churches.
So my name is Jordan. I was a missionary with the PCA church, served in Mexico and in Ecuador, met my ex-wife down there. We got married in 2012, and I thought that she was a sweet, godly woman and going to make a very good wife. Then we got married. We came to the U.S. Immediately, and things changed. Her demeanor changed on our honeymoon, and it was just very angry, very negative. So it was a totally different person. And I wasn't sure why. We had just gotten married. Nothing had happened.
Do you remember any specific things that she was angry about?
I'm a very good cook, and I cooked this like Italian long sauce, and she was just angry that there was a big mess in the kitchen and stuff. And so I cleaned it up, just stuff like that. It was just a general sentiment of I'm unhappy and I'm angry. I was thinking on my honeymoon, like, this should be bliss. We should at least have 6 months of bliss. That's when this problem started.
Now, at this point, many Christians will say that, well, if his wife was angry, then he must have failed somehow, or that he wasn't doing enough. But that was absolutely not the case.
We were living in an apartment. I was working 4 jobs at the time.
Wow.
Nonstop, to the point where I was sending her mother money in Ecuador to support her mom. And we almost immediately got pregnant on the honeymoon. And then by working so many jobs, my immune system started shutting down. So I got a very serious staph infection and almost died from it. I was hours away from dying.
Working so hard that he almost died wasn't enough for her, apparently. Her anger only grew. But pay close attention to how their church responded when they found out.
We started to have fights. I was extremely patient. I never yelled at her, didn't respond in kind. She was just basically raging for 3 months, yelling, screaming, throwing things at me. The church had started to get involved, and I would come home one day from work and there would be an elder there sitting there and basically saying that, the devil is trying to attack your marriage and trying to bring down your marriage.
It seems initially they didn't want to blame Jordan for his wife's behavior, but they weren't willing to hold her responsible either. So they began by pointing the finger at an outside force, the devil. Now, this approach didn't last long, but the assumption of his wife's innocence would become a consistent theme going forward.
Then we started meeting with the elders, and basically it was all my fault. I wasn't behaving as a husband should be, and she wasn't doing anything wrong. It would never correct her. It was always easy to just correct me and stuff. And I was fine with being corrected where I was wrong, and repented and asked for her forgiveness, and actually showed a lot of progress over we were married.
Yeah.
Man, I'm having some major flashback again. Actually, that's a separate person DM me this video today on X. I listened to it. Man, this guy's not alone. I lived through something very, very extremely similar. Pretty much same sort of group of people. PCA's the sister church to the OPC. I was a licentiate in the PCA. So yeah, man, this is terrible. This is your boomer clergy. They really don't give a crap about men. They just keep blaming men, and it's these poor women. It's just they're just not being led well. Oh, if there's a problem, it's his fault.
This is not a problem with the Presbyterians.
And not just
throughout
them,
society.
everywhere.
Catholics,
yes,
Protestant, any Protestant, Lutherans, Methodists, it's everywhere. The same damn thing. What's the common theme here? Boomers do not hold women accountable. Did not. And we were raised, as a boomer, I was trained in this by my father, who was from the silent generation. And I will say that I fell into this for, oh, I don't know, certainly in my first marriage. And then when that fell apart, gee, who got blamed? It would be me. Uh, I remember meeting with my wife and I met with a priest. She tells a sob story and starts crying, and I'm there. I've seen it all before. So I'm kind of, okay, she's crying. And the priest scolds me for not getting in touch. Your wife is crying, and you're just sitting there, immovable. So I was at fault. That's the fucking boomers who did that.
You're just not loving her as Jesus loved the church. If you would lead and sacrifice and be a servant leader, oh, all the chips would fall in place and she might start effing you again or whatever else the problem is.
So I could play more of that. I encourage you to go find stories like that. You don't even have to look for them. If you participate in this side of the red pill, the manosphere, the trad conservative world, these things will pop up and they're becoming more and more common. Stories like this are getting out there. The internet is allowing young men, younger men, and some of us boomers to tell our stories. And young men are seeing this and comparing notes and saying, yeah, this is what's going on. And what are the boomers doing about it?
Doubling down.
Blaming men.
Okay. There's a comment here that I want to address because I think we can tie a couple things together here. So this is I haven't seen you before, so welcome in M99226. Boomers need to go, but at the same time, they don't deserve it. They need to stay to face their creation. Now, here's the thing. On a personal, emotional level, I'm just going to call you M. I agree with you. They should have to. There should be some sort of divine punishment for what they've wrought, and watching it all fall apart would, of course, be the ultimate divine punishment. However, we see that throughout history, the problems cannot be resolved while the generation that created them is still alive. Okay? So, I mean,
there's a whole 40 years that went by in the Bible, right?
Yeah, exactly, Nick. I was just going to say, well, if you read the Old Testament, not only does it happen one time, this happens many times. Israel is expelled. God says you will be allowed back into the lands of Israel when everyone who participated in this debauchery is dead, and then you can go back. And
I thought because somebody left a penny in the desert, in the wilderness.
You're in a mood today, ain't you, Nick? But so the Bible makes it very clear that until you purge the people who caused the problem, you're not going back. You're not going back to Jerusalem. You're not going back to home, right? You're not going back to something that works. And so while I agree with you on an emotional level, I would love to see them suffer the consequences of what they've done. I don't think that's what's actually going to happen. I think we are going to have to spend another 15 years or so waiting for them to die off enough that we can start to clean out the damage they've made.
And you will. Because we're already seeing it in young men. They're not buying in to the baloney about just wife up and marry this woman and pay no attention to her past cater to her. They're not buying that. Now, in defense of boomers, they didn't invent this idea. This thought process was handed to them. This ideology was handed to them by the silent generation, by their parents. They didn't invent it. They didn't see the folly and the problems of it, and they propagated it. So, yeah, okay, we are all responsible for the things we do, even if we're given bad information.
So Steve, you're riffing on an idea we discussed yesterday. So I want to explain it, or build on it. So during World War II, the greatest generation were the ones that primarily fought it. Okay. And after World War II, the greatest generation and their silent children, mostly their children, got together and said, we can never allow this to happen ever again. And this being the industrial extermination of large groups of people. Okay. So somebody did, it was a great Twitter post, can't remember where I saw it, but somebody did a search through Google Books. They have this thing where you can search through books, and the word racism does not appear in written literature until 1945 in any big way. I think there's a little bit of it in the middle of the war, but like the word racism was invented to describe what happened in Europe. Okay. And so the greatest generation built a large
Singelberg, every Stein, Singelberg, Timowitz.
Well, okay. Here's what actually happened. The greatest generation said, look, we cannot allow this to happen again. Okay. And so they built systems, NATO, Bretton Woods, et cetera, to contain this. The greatest generation and their silent generation children were never under any sort of pretense that you could stamp out racism, that you could remove it from the human genome. They were like, no, we will build systems to contain it. Those systems would then, of course, be leveraged to contain the Soviet Union, because they were architected as containment systems. Okay. Now you get to the boomers who were not alive. They were not born yet during the war. So all of this is story from their parents. But the archetypal name for the boomer generation is the prophet generation. They are the ideologues of the cycle. And so the boomers got their ideology from their parents, their greatest and silent generation parents, without understanding the purpose of what was done. And so to the boomer mind, racism is original sin. And I mean that in a very biblical sense, because the containing racism is what preoccupied their elder generations. But the boomers lacked the understanding that came from trying to, and eventually defeating it, that you don't get rid of it, you just contain it. And so the boomers went and made an entire religion out of racism.
Okay.
Yeah, their whole religion is being without natural affection. That's actually a biblical sin.
So when you think about it, okay, what was the next thing they did in this country? What's called the War on Poverty.
Correct.
Who implemented that? When was that implemented?
It's in the 90s.
Roosevelt?
No, 80s and 90s.
No, the War on Poverty. Lyndon Johnson,
Roosevelt.
1965.
Johnson. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that was not the boomers who did that. The War on Poverty
was the greatest generation.
It's the greatest generation. That was basically anti-discrimination. That was the first time. Oh, okay. Civil rights movement. Okay. We need to get rid of this discrimination. So, okay. Arguably a good thing. I'm
Its
not
roots go
arguing
back
against
to
that.
its
And
roots
then,
actually go back to Roosevelt.
sure, well, that was the Social Security thing.
Yes.
He implemented that. Okay, so there's a progression here. Then it gets to the boomers who were in power after essentially 1980, and Ronald Reagan was their hero. But he was from a previous generation. That's when affirmative action was really pushed. And okay, that developed into DEI and all the other crap. And it was a progression, but it didn't start with the boomers. They certainly are responsible for their part. But this was a progression. And it's always a progression from generation to generation. So, okay, yeah, things will change when the boomers are no longer in power and their days are numbered. Now, then it'll be the millennials. I think we are the tide will turn. I can see it in future generations. You can actually see it in politics. 10 years ago, you couldn't criticize Israel. There was a lot of support. Now it's kind of divided. It's the older, primarily evangelical boomers who still are supportive of that little country and it's the younger groups that are not. So we are seeing a change. It's the boomers who are not wanting to hold women accountable and still pointing the finger at men. The younger men are not buying into it. They have a different opinion. So we are at a change here.
Yes, sir. But these things take time. I think the thing that people, and I see this all over debates about demographics, because that's really what this is. People think these things just kind of happen overnight. The average human lives 80 years and will experience roughly 4 different phases of life, somewhat broadly mapping to a 20 to 25 year broader social phase of life. Okay. That transition is a 20-year transition that Steve's talking about. The boomers are not going to all drop dead tomorrow. I know there are people who wish they would, but that's not going to happen. Okay. The youngest boomer is, doing math, 64. Yeah, I think the youngest boomer 65, 64, somewhere in there. Okay.
Well, it depends. What if you're counting born in 64 or what's your
I use 1961 as my cutoff.
Okay, so yeah, okay, 64.
Right. So
I'm only 63. Thank God you're not throwing me in with those assholes.
Yeah, you're close enough, Steve. We'll throw you into the wood chipper too.
Okay.
Okay. So I use 61 because that's the cutoff that Strauss and Howe used. Okay. If we use 61 and we say that, so the youngest boomer is 64. The average human lifespan is 80 years. Well, you've got 16 more years of the average boomer. And so here's actually the way to think of it. The half-life of the boomer generation is 16 years from today. That's 2042. Half of them will be, half or 3/4 is somewhere in there, will be dead in 2042. They will still exist, but at some point, enough of them die that they can no longer exert political power. We are not there yet.
It's declining dramatically year by year.
2032, by the way, is when if millennials decide to vote together as a group, that in the 2032 election, millennials will be able to decisively defeat boomers. That's
So
yeah. So yes, Steve, you're right.
let me describe. Okay, I've been thinking about this stream for a few days, trying to say, okay, what, distill it down. What is the issue with boomers? What's the ideology? And what I came up with is radical equality. And I asked our audience to give boomer complaints. What was the first one? Shoe tie. What was the very first word he typed in? Egalitarianism. Egalitarianism is radical equality. That's a problem. Because with radical equality, now think about this, what goes with radical equality? Oh, marriage becomes a partnership. There's no one in charge. Both people have to agree. It's a democracy. And then whoever complains the most actually wins. And you just talk out your problems. There's no one in charge. There's no discipline. There is really no head of the family because we are all equal here. With no head of the family, you have no cohesiveness and there is no discipline. There's a higher divorce rate. You're not raising your children right by using discipline. Okay, a man loves differently than a woman. To raise your children right, a man has to impose order and discipline. That's the loving thing to do. But when you do this egalitarianism and the wife says, oh, no, you made them feel bad. You can't do that.
No, you need to have a discussion with your children. You know, they have a voice too. They're equals, aren't they?
Yes. So it's radical equality is the thing that's brought this idea that men and women are equal in all their attributes and capacities. So women can do anything that men can do. And so all these boomers promote this concept into their daughters that, oh, yes, you can go out and you can have a career and you can do great and you should be able to make just as much money as a man. Wait a minute, you're not doing the same job, but you could. And so, you know what? Whatever you do is still equal in value to a man. Therefore, if you're earning less money than a man, even though you're doing a different job, you are of equal value. So there is a wage gap here. And this implies discrimination. And so in order to favor women and get it so we can have equality, we need to promote women and recruit women and encourage them into these jobs and do quotas and diversity. We need to embrace diversity. We need to do all this shit to bring men down and put women up. And young men are saying, fuck that bullshit. It's not working for me. I'm just going to sit back and not do anything because I tried and I can't find a decent woman. She's all out there being having her fun with Chad and Tyrone. There are no good women. They're just ball busting bitches. They don't want to hire me because I'm a white guy. All the jobs are going to uh, the immigrants, all this H-1B visa thing. And then I try to explain this to a boomer, and he says, "Oh, back in my day, I got it done. You can get it done too." And then, you know what the response to that
We
is?
literally cannot get it done because of all the stupid shit that they put in our path. Even if we had the job.
So then what do the younger people think? Or maybe say?
Stupid boomer.
No, fuck you, boomer.
Oh. Yeah.
As well, they should. You know, there's a strain of thought that I've been seeing on Twitter lately, where the boomers are demanding respect from the youngers. It's like they've given up even trying to. It's just you must respect me because I'm your elder. Well,
Yeah, so
actually,
why did they ship all their parents and grandparents off to the nursing homes and never visited them? Or rarely did. Yeah, shut up.
you know, I'm going to take a more general take on this. Respect is earned. We are telling you that you have not earned it. That this is not a conversation. This is not a debate. This is not a discussion. This is not a supplication. We, the millennials, declare that you, the boomers, have not earned the respect you desire because of your continual failures. This is not to say that I do not respect my dad. I do, but as you know, he's also kind of based. But the boomer generation has done nothing to earn the respect of their youngers, their offspring, and they have the temerity to demand it. Well, respect is earned, it is not given, and respect cannot be demanded. I mean, look, from the red pill, we all know that guys who try to demand respect from their women,
Mhm.
yeah, Nick's just chuckling over there because anybody who's actually alpha, actually understands how men works, is just going to go, that ain't how it works. You earn respect. If you try and demand respect from your wife, you might as well just knock that off now and go to the divorce lawyer yourself, because that's what'll happen. I'm sorry. Respect cannot be demanded from anyone. It must be earned. Okay? Respect from men is not demanded. It is earned only, ever. And the boomers, as a generation, have done nothing to earn it. So it will not be given. Respect cannot be. Your wife cannot give you respect if you do not earn it. I'm sorry.
You.
A while ago, I did a stream. I was trying to find it, but I can't. It was on legacy, stewardship, and there was one other aspect. I forget what it is. But what is the legacy of boomers? Have they really thought about what their legacy is? Are they doing a good job with their legacy? Oh, are they good stewards? Are they passing down to the younger generation, to their children, what was given to them? Oh, how about finances and property? No. I would say the boomers are deficient in both caring about their legacy and stewardship. So there is a lack of respect coming from their children because of that.
Best they can do is buy their third vacation home and go on a 2-month tour of Europe and buy a boat while you're stuck in a 2-bedroom apartment with 5 kids. And working 60 hours a week.
Well, I pretty much covered what I wanted to cover. We can keep talking about boomers, but sometimes it's nice to have a shorter stream. We talk long enough. And this boomer issue, this friction between the millennials and the boomers, these complaints about boomers, it's not going away. And there's a justification and rather than just get mad at the boomers, figure out what is it about the boomers that's causing all these problems. And I again say it's radical. Their ideological belief in radical equality. They will not hold women accountable. They never hold their wives accountable. They never really properly led the family. They never properly brought their daughters up with some modicum of discipline and respect for their father. The father wasn't in charge. So the daughters now don't think they need to respect a man. And the daughters of boomers do not really show much respect towards men. Okay, so now we're dealing with that. That's not going to go away. The only way that's going to change is from a catastrophic, abrupt change. Once women need men for survival, their behavior will change. It will start to change. And then their children, their daughters, will be raised with it. So we are in the process of this change. It's not going to happen quickly. Go ahead, Plutarch.
It doesn't need to be a catastrophic instant or short-term snap change. A short-term meaning 5 years or less here, guys. It can literally just be because the boomers never did discipline anyone in their family or never imposed boundaries on anyone in their family. They never will. Okay. And this is why I went back to the Bible and God saying, well, no, everyone who participated in this has to die. And then you can come back. Right. There is an option here where we toil through the next 15 years or so and nothing good happens, but maybe bad things slow down and then eventually stop happening. And then at some point they are going to lose their grip on power, and that'll be it. And things will start to turn around and slowly recover. That is actually probably how this goes. It sucks. It has a ton of knock-on implications that I'd love to talk about at some point. For example, anyone who thinks birth rates are going to recover anytime soon needs to go get their head checked. That kind of stuff, right? So it doesn't have to be a catastrophic change because the other option is literally just live past the stupidity and fix it while you go. And that's why seeing these men come up and look at the boomers and go, no, I don't owe you respect, is actually a good thing. You could argue that the catastrophic solution is the ideal solution because it forces people to come to resolution. And I'd be willing to entertain that argument, but it is not it's not the only way this ends.
It has to be a significant change. It doesn't have to be abrupt. It has to be dramatic.
Has
enough to be noticed.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to see it happen.
So maybe catastrophic is the wrong word. But it's a significant change, which can happen slowly or it can happen quickly.
And we're not in control of the world. Anything can happen. Or nothing could happen. I mean, the mysterious providence.
I had a couple of videos. I figured this would be a good discussion to have. I didn't really have any bullet points except for exploring this idea and the concept of radical equality, which is really a problem. I don't think younger men, believe in radical equality anymore. Well, maybe the lefties do. The woke group still are clinging to that. But I think that concept is losing popularity.
Well, it goes back to the red pill stuff. Men are walking away from simping for women. Why? Social media is putting women on display for all of their harlotry and horrific personalities. And so men are just going, yeah, I don't need any of that. And there's women out there, but I'm a good woman. Actually, you're probably not. And that's a whole different discussion for a whole different day. What I'm saying there is the tale of the sin is long. The reason that the Bible says that the sins of the father will be perpetrated to the third and fourth generation. I forget what the exact word used was.
Of them that hate me.
Yeah. So even the younger women that who, your average millennial woman is she was raised her entire life in feminism. She knows nothing else. Okay. At this point for millennial women, they're cooked. It's too late. Okay. And people are saying, oh, the Zoomers will get it. No, they have the same problem. If the Zoomers are able to change anything, and younger millennials, if they're able to change anything about what they do, it'll be because, as Steve said, something happens and the men leave. The thing that these women want is simply unavailable to them unless they change their behavior. Okay. But that's a process, not an event. And it takes a long time. This is honestly how the Dark Ages get started. Is you don't fall into the Dark Ages, you walk into them. So I have a whole theory that I'm working on, not ready to share it yet, about there's a meta cycle. So we've talked about the 100-year cycle, but there's a meta cycle to what's going on here. And under that theory, we would be due to hit for a 300 to 400 year Dark Ages really isn't the right word, but a 300 to 400 year stagnation. So that's a possibility where it just takes that long for, it takes 100 years for these things to, I mean, we're still raising feminist Gen Zers. They are going to be alive for the next 80, 90 years. Think about the hand of demographics moves slowly, guys. And a mistake of the magnitude that the one the boomers did to themselves and their children can affect you for 300 to 400 years. Just think it. And one of my messages, and I've been in a long Twitter thread with another YouTuber on this is be very careful, be extremely careful about the choices you make, both individually and as a person, and about the ideologies you embrace, but also be careful to get your words right. Make sure you really understand the words you're using, because you can perpetrate a sin so heinous that it costs humanity hundreds of years of stagnation to undo it. And feminism is on that level. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but there's a non-zero chance that it
predicted
does.
it.
What?
Dabney predicted it. Dabney predicted it.
Yeah.
It's literally playing out as
Right.
he said
So,
in the
I think
1800s, lady.
I think the tide has turned on feminism.
it may have, but
There's no way to know for sure.
it may
But I'm
have.
calling it today, and some historian about 20, 30 years in the future will tell you if I was right.
Yeah. I mean, but the point I'm trying to make is that some sins are so egregious that even if you start turning them around, you're doing so much damage that it cannot be undone in a single cycle, in a single 100-year cycle. Sometimes the damage isn't done by humans. The bubonic plague took 300 years. Yeah, it took 300 years. It set up the Enlightenment and the Renaissance, but it took them hundreds of years to undo that damage.
Well, I have an analogy. I love analogies. Right now, the big thing in the world that we're all dealing with is super tankers full of oil not traveling. So let's talk about a super tanker. Damn big vessel. Plodding along at 12 knots when it's moving, as it should. Okay, now, oh, shit, we need to turn this thing around. How long does it take to turn around a super tanker? Well, first of all, you got to bring it to a stop. Then you got to go in an easy turn. It's miles and miles of time or travel. And it'll probably take you a long time to turn that thing around and then get up speed to go in the opposite direction. Doesn't turn on a dime. So for all you tradcons who just say, "Oh, yeah, just wife up those women and have lots of kids and we'll outproduce them. We need to get that birth rate up." You're trying to turn a super tanker on a dime. Not going to happen.
It's actually just simply not how demographic math works. Like the tradcons, it's kind of funny. They have the same problem that the leftists do. They're both trying to argue that math doesn't apply to whatever it is they're trying to do. Sorry, neither of you are going to win this one.
On the tradcons, I'd say with all their children and the train wrecks that happen in their marriage actually create more problems.
I would agree with that. We've discussed the state, the nasty stay-at-home mom divorces. Those are primarily creations of tradcon Christians.
Well, no, it's the worst. Dr. David Edgington, who we had on here, said in his experience, the worst divorces happen from stay-at-home mothers. Doesn't mean they're necessarily demographically the worst problem, but they're not the solution either. The trad wives are not the solution.
None of that. Sadly, Christianity does not offer the solution to this. And I know Nick is not going to
I'd
stop
argue
me.
differently. I would argue
Well,
differently, but
okay.
that's a conversation that the Tradcons would probably hate.
Well,
And it
right.
requires a certain amount of power in centralized places that they'd balk at. But
Right.
I'm
Well,
fine with it.
Christianity, the church, it does not offer, is not going to offer any solutions. The Bible does. The Bible, like the Christianity, the faith does offer solutions. Christianity, the church, has nothing for you.
Well, the institution could. It's patriarchy that's the issue. A properly led church is an institution with authority, and it's patriarchal. It's the implementation of what's in the Bible. So it could, it should, but currently it doesn't. The non-denominational, Bible only. No, they have no hierarchy. They have no authority. They have no cohesion. And it's kind of chaotic. No common belief. They have no structure. Even though every one of these people and churches and non-denominationalists, they all believe in the Bible. They're not all saying the same thing. They're not cohesive at all. You need an institution which is hierarchical and patriarchal. Or more, you could have more than one. The Presbyterians can have their own. Okay. And Nick is all about hierarchy. Catholics are going to have theirs. The Orthodox are going to have theirs. And by God, you know what? The Anglicans, if they could get their shit together and put men back in charge, maybe there's even hope for them.
Still doesn't change the central operating powers of civil government, which rewards women for being terrible, although there might be ecclesiastical consequences.
Right. And so what I was trying to say is that going to church and finding a church woman is not going to solve any of these problems. Going to church, the Tradcons are not going to solve any of these problems. They don't have the answer. They make a lot of money telling you they do, but they don't have it. So, yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. Christianity.
Well, I agree with you there.
Christianity, the faith and the Bible, that has answers if you're willing to implement them. But the number of churches that will support you as a man trying to implement them is vanishingly small.
No, actually, instead, most of them will try to destroy you.
Right, exactly. And that's what I'm getting at. The church is not, it offers no home and no salvation for you here.
It's because the churches are still run by those damn boomers.
Well, they actually are. Well, Shu, no one's going to bring up the stats unless they can sell you fear on the basis of the stats. And this is true of almost everybody.
Yeah, their morality is a line on a graph going up. Go F yourself.
Right, exactly, right. The line on, my morality is this line is going the wrong way. Okay, congratulations, you don't have a morality at all. You have a chart. Charts are not a morality, guys. And the fact that I have to say that is terrifying. So.
Yep. So who's doing the show next week?
I have no idea.
Oh, that'd be yours truly.
All right, Nick, what do you got for us?
We're going to talk about appliances, their history, and a possible new idea. That still might get you in trouble if she takes you to the cleaners to the courts. But you do it anyway, so why not?
So Nick, you're going to go there.
Yes.
Okay, this started as a response. This whole thing is an idea that started because Elena was having a rough day, shall we say, in the group chat, and Nick's idea kind of grew out from there as a suggestion of what I might do to rein in my wife. So I will let him explain all that. I just, that's.
But it was all in good fun.
Yes.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, hey, this might kind of work, maybe. I don't know. We'll discuss it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a new idea, and we can discuss it, and we can see what you guys in the chat think. So, yeah, I guess join us next week for a new idea from Pastor Nick on something to do with appliances. So, I know it's kind of a weird one, guys, but well, maybe it'll be interesting because it's weird. Again, I always say this at the end. Yeah, subscribes are nice. Yes, likes are nice, but we really do this because we want you to share these videos. And if there's a boomer, out there, please share this video with them. I'm sure you guys know some boomers somewhere who need to see this, because boomers need to be told they aren't all that. They need to hear that. And they also need to hear what the youngers think of them, but also what the youngers are planning on doing with the world that they created, and that is destruction. So, as with all of our videos, we primarily are generating ideas for sharing, and so please share this video with a boomer who needs a little bit of a intellectual spanking. I had to work that in for you, Steve.
Okay.
Other than that, we will see you next week. There is a show on Saturday. Don't know what that's about yet. So show up for Saturday. That's on Elena's channel. It's what, 11:15 in the morning Central Time, I think.
Yes.
All right. And then we'll be back next week for appliances. I'm going to have fun with the thumbnail on this one. So, okay. We will see you all next week or Saturday. Bye.
There was a firefight! Son of a bitch!